Hello and welcome. A few days ago I looked at small sugar crystals in honey using a polarized light. But in honey is also quite interesting to observe because there could also be pollen grains inside the honey. Pollen that the bees collected while they were collecting nectar. And now the density of the pollen in the honey might not be very high, so what I have to do is I have to dilute this honey with water, and then I want to try to centrifuge the honey solution using a hand centrifuge. Okay, then this concentrates the pollen, and then I hope to be able to do this at least, and then I can observe the pollen under the microscope. And this is what I'm going to show you now in this video. Well, the first thing that we have to do is we have to get the pollen out of the honey, and I'm basically pouring in a little bit of water, approximately 10 mils, into a cup, and I'm adding a little bit of honey here, and I'm dissolving the honey inside with water. Of course, this will dissolve the sugar and set the pollen free. And this takes a couple of minutes, and when everything's properly dissolved, I'm pouring the solution back into the tube. Unfortunately, as you can see, I'm spilling a little bit, but it's okay because I still have enough of the solution left. And then I need to make a counterweight, and I'm just using pure water for the counterweight. And I'm putting everything into the hand centrifuge, the counterweight, and then the honey solution. And then I need to spin everything, and I was spinning everything for approximately 3 to 5 minutes. Yeah. And it was a little bit stuck at the beginning, so I had to kind of get it started. Yeah, and now it's rotating relatively quickly. Yeah, so as I said, a couple of minutes. And then after a few minutes, yeah, you can see that there's unfortunately a small crack in the tube, so that's not a good thing because it's dangerous, it might break. But then basically all of the pollen, or most of them, are collected at the very bottom, and I'm carefully now removing the so-called supernatant, so basically the liquid at the top. And I'm using this with a pipette, and this way I'm not disturbing the pollen which has collected on the very bottom of the tube. Unfortunately, my pipette was not long enough, so I'm now removing more water with some tissue paper. So I need a longer pipette, obviously. And I'm leaving a little bit of water behind, maybe half a milliliter. Yeah, and I'm now basically tapping the tube to resuspend the pollen in this small amount of water, because the pollen is actually sticking on the glass. And pretty self-explanatory what I'm doing here. I'm taking a drop, and I'm putting a drop on the slide, and then of course a cover glass, and then everything goes under the microscope. Okay, yeah, so it goes under the microscope. Oops, and gotta try it again. And then let's see what we find. And sure enough, yeah, there were plenty of pollen. That's how they looked like. Okay, and this is now with a 20x objective, and all of the subsequent videos here I did with the 60x objective, and you can see me focusing in and out. I added some digital zooms just to make it a little bit nicer to look at. But there were many different pollen shapes that I found. Some of them looked kind of irregular, like this one over here. Yeah, I'm zooming back, not zooming. I'm focusing back and forth so that you can actually. It looks like a Mickey Mouse a little bit. Yeah. So there were quite a lot of these pollen on the in the water drop, and this one, I don't know, seemed to have already popped open. Maybe it's starting to form a so-called pollen tube. I'm not sure about that. But so maybe the pollen tube starts to grow, ready to fertilize the plant. And some of them are also triangular in shape, so you can actually see that the pollen did come from different plant species. Now, I'm not really good at identifying the plants that the pollen came from. That's something that we better leave up to the experts here. I'm just more fascinated in observing nature, but I don't really know much about the pollen identification. It's a pretty advanced topic anyway. Yeah, so that should have given you a short insight into the different pollen from honey. Well, how important is centrifuging now? Can you not just simply do without it? And I think not, because centrifuging collects concentrates on all of the pollen here at the tip. And what I did is I put a drop of solution from the top here under the microscope, and I did not find any pollen. So even the short time that I was spinning the tubes for about 3 minutes was already enough to concentrate the pollen all the way at the tip here. Now, if you don't have a hand centrifuge like this, what you can try to do is you can try to make one yourself. I tried to make one myself. I did not test it yet. I'm also going to do that. That is basically pretty much it. That's everything I wanted to show you today. You can see that simple preparation steps are already enough, and you can quite see a lot of interesting things. I wish you in any case all the best. Happy microbe hunting as always, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.